Hello and welcome to another virtual cafe conversation with Synergy Technical. I'm Adrian and Alex, and I'm joined today by Alex Fernandez of Homeland Security Solutions. Alex, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Good afternoon, Adrian.
Hey, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. Tell us a little bit about your company and your role there.
Yeah, definitely. So, Homeland Security Solutions, or HSSI, we're a government contracting company. We specialize in law enforcement services. What our major customer right now is the Marine Corps and the Navy. We provide law enforcement support for local bases. We do sustainment training for the active duty guys as well. We do curriculum development, sustainment training, like I said. We also are in the application development and training realm as well.
Awesome. And what's your specific role?
So my role there is I'm the information technology director. So I handle all the corporate day-to-day activities, and I also work on special projects with the customer to fulfill their needs as needed.
Awesome. And how are you and your family dealing with what's going on in the world right now?
Oh man, actually, you know what? We're doing pretty well. When it first happened, I was kind of apprehensive. I'm like, okay, kids can be around me 24/7. I'm gonna have to be a teacher, a dad. I'm gonna have to be a caretaker. I'm gonna have to do all these things above. I didn't know what to expect, but as the time went on, I'm actually kind of enjoying it. The time with the
Yeah.
family is pretty cool. Get to seeing what they learn and helping with their schoolwork, and then at the same time, my wife's working from home as well, so kind of being her IT support along with the company IT support, it's great.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we'll see.
gonna
My
start doing
my wife
trouble.
got a new computer out of this so that I could stop being IT support for the old busted one.
Yeah.
So, what, what have you seen as kind of the impact of the pandemic on your industry?
So the biggest thing is communication. Because our most of our industry is hands on, and like I said, we have a lot of guys that are essential employees that are on the field. That guard the gates, that monitor 911 dispatch. So they're all considered essential personnel. For the people on the field. So for us, it had a great impact because it was a total change on how we're going to operate, how we're going to do business, trying to follow the guidelines set by the state and the federal government, and then also the guidelines by our customer as well. So,
Sure, and I'm guessing that you probably have guidelines that also dictated by other federal governments too, in some
oh
cases.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, yep,
So now that we've been like what we're 9, 10 weeks into this thing,
yep.
how have your employees adjusted? I mean, obviously the business processes have changed, but have you found things that have worked particularly well, or things that worked particularly poorly as you move through this?
Oh, so I mean, we were actually kind of blessed. We were early adopters of Office 365 and Azure. So we've been on the platform now for close to about 5 years. When we first approached it, I didn't really have the full support of the board of directors. But as we slowly started integrating into it, they started seeing that, since a majority of our employees are already remote teleworkers, that it was actually easier for them to access the SharePoint, the OneDrive, and then it also met a lot of the compliances that we have to meet with DFARS and other federal regulations.
Yeah. Been any particular technologies that just haven't really worked out, or any major roadblocks to keeping your workers successful?
I think the biggest thing, and I think this is something that a lot of people in the industry are kind of suffer with, is as far as just maintaining security. And I think the biggest thing is the training that we had before. Every year everybody has to go through a security awareness training, be aware of phishing attempts, and then also any other sites that they go to. Just make sure that the site is legitimate before they click anything, and just validating that. So I think that's is and probably going to be the biggest roadblock for us in the future. Going down some of the technologies that we adopted just kind of ad hoc, just out of nowhere, was Teams,
Yeah.
which is one of them, and that kind of helped out a lot during this pandemic because, especially like our business development group and our project managers that work on specific projects, they're able to use Teams more effectively, and able to work with their employees, and then have a central repository where all that data is tracked and stored, so that way they could go back later and review notes and all that fun stuff. So
Yeah, we're finding it to be remarkably helpful as well. So if
Yeah.
you had the clairvoyance a year ago to know that
Mhm.
this sort of thing was going to come, a big crystal ball, look into the future and see that your entire workforce is going to be disrupted, is there anything that you would have changed or done to be ready for this?
I think the biggest thing would be to have a stronger connection for employees that do work from home. Just making sure that their office space is adequate for their work. To make sure that the broadband connection they'd have at their house is sufficient enough to handle the Zoom meetings and the Skype meetings and the team meetings. Just to make sure that all that was in place. And another thing too would be. Some type like an Azure Anywhere type of deal where authenticating is easier to do remotely without having to launch a VPN connection all the time. So probably just cleaning up some of those things and having some of those policies in place earlier would have saved us some headaches. But we have such a great staff here with our contracts department and our HR department, and everybody kind of works together, leadership works together to try to develop these policies. We were able to develop something right away because we had existing IT policies that did have a work from home guidelines, but now we were able to deliver that to the employees and go from there. So it was actually pretty smooth.
Awesome. Glad to hear that. So what are you guys doing to maintain employee morale?
So the biggest thing that we do is we have our morning stand up call, which is good because then all management can kind of get together, talk about some of the issues that are going on within the organization or within their particular group. And what's great about it is that I feel now there's more cohesion now because now there is a set time for this daily call. Everybody kind of knows what's going on across the board throughout the organization, and people are actually able to provide input to help out in other groups. So that actually built up management morale pretty well. And then at the same time, then those managers, when we talk to our employees, we're able to give them a larger scope of what's going on in the organization, and they feel like they're part of the decision making and are aware of all the things that are coming down the pipeline. So.
Yeah, we found that to be internally as well, that transparency is key and feeling like you're a part of the process is really important. So that's
Yeah,
awesome. Glad to hear that.
yeah.
In your own personal role as IT director, though, how has the change, how's the pandemic changed the way that you do your job?
Yeah, so it really, because we were early adopters of Azure and Office 365, um, it really hasn't changed that much. There's still the same reports that I go through. And it's for me just kind of monitoring the tickets as they're coming along, and running those reports and making sure that our SLAs are within scope, and so for as far as for IT, it really hasn't changed that much other than touching people's keyboards. That's, we're using more remote tools, Skype for Business, um, sharing desktops. We use a team sharing desktops, and then we have third-party applications like TeamViewer that we use, to get down and gritty into the machines and work from there. So
Awesome.
yeah, so it's good.
I'm glad to hear that. So obviously we're in Virginia. It's mid-May, and we are now in phase one of looking at reopening the state, or phase one of reopening the state. Um, what are you doing to get ready to go back to the office, or are you?
So, we're looking at potentially opening the office up in the 1st of June. So, and as we know, these phase approaches changed. I mean, we
Right.
heard phase one approach on Monday, and then Wednesday there was an addendum that came out that had a whole bunch of stipulations and adjustments to it. So, we're kind of playing it week by week, seeing what the governor has to say and what we're hearing from the federal level. Um,
Sure. Do
and
you foresee any changes in the processes that you guys have done to enable working from home to get your users back into the office too, or are you going to? I mean, I know that that's kind of a moving target for everybody right now, but is anything that you've done to enable working from home going to be undone, or are you going to continue to build on those things, or is that just kind of all working itself out?
No, you know what, Adrian, really, I think this is kind of an eye opener for organizations to have this functionality and to work remotely, work anywhere. So I think what we're going to end up seeing is on our end is less travel, um, more utilization of the tools that we have available, such as Skype for Business and Teams, to communicate with with our customers or even and our potential partners as well. So I don't see any changes of us digressing. To where what we're trying to achieve. I actually see more going towards this type of work from home and working remote.
Great. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
Yep.
Well, that's all that I have for you. I really want to thank you for taking the time to join us today. It's always a pleasure to see it. I hope that someday down the road we'll actually be able to see each other face to face again.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yes, it
Thank you so
has.
much for joining us today, Alex.
Oh, Adrian, thank you for your time, and again, man, Synergy. Thank you for all that you guys have done for us. You guys were, our footstep into where we're at now. You guys, are constantly there for us and providing the technologies and updates and training. So, without a strategic partner as Synergy Technical, I don't think we would be where we're at now, and we might be scratching our heads trying to figure out where to go. But you guys have given us that path. I really appreciate that from you guys. So thank you.
Thank you. We really appreciate you too, man. Good to see you.
Definitely, brother. Take care.